listening to Conspiracy Corner with Autumn and Melissa. This is a show where we question everything. Are you even really hearing this podcast right now? Or is it all simulation? Stay tuned and find out.
All right, welcome to Conspiracy Corner, the podcast where we question everything you think you know. I'm one of your hosts, Melissa.
And I'm Autumn. And today we're tackling the avian enigma that has been hiding in plain sight. Birds, my friends. Yes, the cute little Tweety birds outside are not real. That's right, folks. You heard it here first. So every pigeon, seagull, and even your precious cardinal are all government-issued drones.
That's right. And not just government-issued drones, Autumn. Let's get specific here. Forget big tech. Big Beak is the real surveillance giant here.
And you're probably thinking, okay, so these are like really big claims. You're probably laughing at us right now. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you saw a baby pigeon?
Never. Absolutely never. And you know why? Because pigeons are manufactured, not born. Ever notice how they like strut around the parks, just like staring at you, those soulless little beady eyes? It's cameras, my friend. Tiny, high-definition cameras.
And the thing that I have always scratched my head on, they all seem to walk the same way.
Yeah.
It's they are machines.
They're
as if they are programmed. Why don't pigeons
That's exactly what it is.
fly like eagles? Why don't vultures fly like seagulls?
Yeah.
They all seem to be on a program. So it's no coincidence to me that bird watching exploded as a hobby during election years specifically. So they're thinking, oh, they're just binocular wielding hobbyists. No, these are actually citizen operatives gathering data for the Avian Spy Network.
Absolutely. And let's not ignore the timing here. Like ever since the mid-2010s, bird activity has spiked. Coincidentally, that's when the drones got smaller and more advanced. Suddenly we're inundated with robins and blue jays like we're in some kind of Disney movie. Come on.
Well, and I think that the variety of birds, namely with robins and blue jays, cardinals, all of that, they need variety here so that we can't catch on to the plan.
Right.
We have to have variety here. So speaking of robins specifically, let's talk about migration. So we all heard it in school. They say that birds fly south for the winter. Right? We've all heard that before.
Yeah.
But why? Tell me why.
Do you know why? I don't know.
This is my thinking because I really thought this through.
Think? Yeah.
To charge their batteries. To charge their batteries because I've always like really pondered and really struggled with the shape of the little feet on birds. Like why do they need those little toes? Why do they need those little toes? Kind of like prongs of an outlet. You know, think about the similarities here. The little prongs of the toes. So if you think about that and you think about charging and all those kinds of things, I feel like they're charging batteries and they're the perfect place.
It's like when you put the when you put the cell phone on the little flat surface and it charges like wirelessly. I think that's what's going on there.
It is. And I think that we're like becoming experts with just connecting the dots with all of this because as you think about phone chargers, prongs of an outlet, the flatness of phones and the flatness of birds.
It's undeniable. The
similarities. It is undeniable.
You can't.
And so I really think that the perfect place for these little flat feet to work at optimal levels would be the beaches of Florida.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started on seagulls. I mean, you think they're scavenging your fries at the beach? No. They are scanning your debit cards. They're squawking these encrypted signals to each other so that they can learn all your, private information.
Which again, with the whole variety thing, because seagulls have the squawking, crows make a different sound, but I think the squawking has to do with encryption specifically because each bird is like made for different purposes, right?
Yeah, right.
The proof is everywhere. Have you ever noticed how birds sit on power lines? Like all of them do it.
Yeah. Why is that? What's the deal there?
I think that they are recharging.
Oh.
Power lines obviously have to do with power. So I think it has to do with like avian fueling stations, kind of like with electric cars have to have like a fueling station. So I think that that's what it is. And so you're telling me it's natural for birds to like line up on a power line? Like how unnatural is that?
No, you are so right. And Autumn, let's not forget that drones don't come cheap, Like where does the funding come for these little flying monsters? Like I think it's campaign donations. Every time you get an email,
I think you're onto something.
Asking for like $27. I think they're just buying another crow drone. you know?
I think so. And like I've done a lot of research into this, and I really feel that the crow drones are more common. And so they're like less expensive to make. So I feel like $27 is fairly reasonable. That's why they ask us for $27.
I want to say isn't that the exact amount that that it costs in China? I think it's $27 is about what it costs to make a drone over there.
To the penny at these factories for this kind of bird. Now, when you get other calls requesting like, $100 donations, that kind of thing, that's when you start getting into like the higher end versions, like that look like eagles. Yeah. Yes, the eagles. So that's what all of that is about. But
and they can go farther, right? The eagles, can't they go like cross the ocean kind of thing? Isn't that a little bit?
Well, they're specifically needed for mountain rangers. Oh. Because people that hike have a lot of secrets. That's why they go.
So much spying goes on in the mountains.
Secluded places. Because that's where a lot of. Because hikers have a lot of secrets, and so they go up into the mountain to like talk about these secrets.
Why are they going hiking? Why do you got to go so far out?
Why do you have to go far out? Hiking is unnatural.
It's unnatural. You could just hike in your backyard, but no, they have to go way into.
You have to go to the mountains, and so for these unnatural souls, the government had to create the bald eagle, and they made it like really like incognito by making it our national symbol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. I think you're right.
I think that's what it is. So.
And people think we're crazy. I mean, I don't know they just don't know. Like people just don't know.
They think that we're crazy. They really do. And this is something that really struck me. Do you remember in the 2020 debates?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did a little fly happen to land on Mike Pence's head in the middle of a really good point?
Yeah.
I don't think it was a fly.
No.
Because they work with fear tactics here. Okay.
Micro drone. It was
micro drone sent to intimidate him. Because what is more intimidating than a fly on your head?
I mean, if it's a micro drone, I'm freaking out. So no question about that.
If you think about a lot of inaugurations that take place outdoors,
how
come it's not indoors?
Right.
See, there's no birds indoors. They need birds for this constant surveillance and constant communication. So what can we do about this practically, people?
What can we do? Yeah.
What can we do? Okay. So we cannot fall hopelessly prey to all their schemes, right?
Right.
We can't do this. So this is some practical steps that we can all take. The first thing that we can do is to stop feeding the birds.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, just
keep the crumbs for yourself.
Yes, right.
Make your crust
or your children
into croutons. Feed them to the children.
Yes.
You are funding your own surveillance, okay?
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that anymore. The second thing that we can do is to wear tinfoil hats.
Yes.
Okay?
Those are so great.
They're so great. They're comfortable.
Right. And is there a certain type of tinfoil that's better than other brands that you would recommend? Is there?
Well, it depends on the size of the head. It also depends on the hairstyle.
Yeah.
Because if you have like...
The higher the hair, the closer to God hairstyle. You gotta. It's gonna take a lot more tinfoil.
Well, if you're like really into like spikes and that kind of thing, that punctures like dollar brand tinfoil. So you want to go with like heavy duty for this. Yeah. Okay. You want to go for like
Club family.
Sam's Club.
Family
if you're like, one of those homeschoolers that have a lot of kids, you want to get like the really big roll. If you got spiky haired kids,
big
go
family.
heavy duty people.
Yeah. And I think when I got some at Sam's the other day, I'm pretty sure the package, it was like, I think I could make 13 hats out of that. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on the head size, of course, but
it depends on the head size. But I mean, my family, we have like, eggheads in my family. And so So if that's the case, you really want to go for the large roll. Now, if you have
you can only make like 10 or something from those.
Probably like 10. Yeah, I'm thinking 10. If Uncle Billy comes, 9. Okay. 9 is the best that we can do. So if you have like, little pinhead families, really small minded people, then you can definitely go with a smaller roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so that's the second thing that we could practice.
Okay. Tinfoil hats. Stop feeding the birds, tinfoil hats. Is there anything else that our listeners can do?
The next thing that you can do that can really help our cause is to contribute to our Patreon account, and we will gladly send you a bumper sticker to help spread the truth.
Yes. Yes. What is that bumper sticker? Is it what's
so the message on that bumper sticker is simply proclaiming the fact that birds aren't real. Simple and sweet.
Simple and sweet. I love it. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And listen, people, together we can expose the winged spies in our skies. And if you think this is far-fetched, just remember the truth is often stranger than fiction.
Or at least as strange as a woodpecker drilling a hole in your siding, not to eat bugs as we were so taught in school, but to install cameras.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, folks, we thank you so much for tuning in to Conspiracy Corner for this episode. Listen, please stay skeptical, stay vigilant, and stay indoors if you hear chirping outside your window.
And please join us for our next riveting episode as we dive into the secrets and lies of Velcro.
You just heard another episode of Conspiracy Corner with Autumn and Melissa. Tune in next week to hear more from this dynamic duo, and remember to stay skeptical and question everything.